Service has always been a huge part of our family. I think back to the foundation, my grandfather came here from Ireland when he was 16 years old. He served in the U.S. Army in World War I, and I think that inspired the rest of his children. The oldest boy, Eugene, my Uncle Gene, he was going to BC, and he was doing very well academically when the war broke out. Much to my grandfather's dismay, if you will, he was very proud to have his first son in college. He told him he wanted to go in the service, and he had an opportunity to go into the military program at BC, which could then get him into Annapolis, which he did pursue. He went to Annapolis, and he graduated Annapolis that year. Because of the war, they graduated the classmen a year earlier so that they could serve. And he was a lieutenant junior grade on the battleship Maddox. It was a destroyer that was it was sunk by the Luftwaffe. The German Luftwaffe dropped bombs on them. And as a result of that, my dad immediately, I think he joined the service in late of 1942. He joined the Marine Corps. And by now, with great support from my grandfather, because they were following to serve the country that he had loved so much, coming here from Ireland, and he immediately supported my dad going in the service. Uncle Jim, another BC student, he became a lieutenant commander aboard the Pomfret, a submarine. He saw some heavy action in the war, but he wouldn't talk much about it. He talked about some rescues they made, talked more about the passionate acts, the rescuing people, downed pilots, rescuing prisoners of war. Uncle Frank, the youngest, was probably the more intelligent of the family. He was a chemist, and he went on in the corporate world and led several companies as CEO, and he retired, unfortunately died at an early age of cancer. They had the opportunity, after Uncle Gene was killed in the war, they had the option to get out. They didn't have to serve because they already lost a brother. And I guess that was a policy back then, and my Uncle Frank didn't have to enlist. He could have avoided it because he lost a brother. But all four of them, I'd almost say heroically enlisted, but my dad used to always instill in us that there's no such thing as a hero. We do heroic things because it's instinctive and reactive. Most look back on their actions later and say it was foolhardy. My grandfather was a police officer. My dad, my Uncle Jim, was with the FBI. There was a sense that we have to pay back. We have to appreciate what we have in life. And service is a great way of doing that, to serve your community, serve the people around you. And mind you, back in those days, my grandfather had the choice when he first was thinking of public service. He worked for the sanitation department for a short time in the city here, which paid more at the time than police officers, a lot more. And he left the sanitation because he wanted to help people. He wanted to be a police officer and help people and do good things and serve them, more than just drive a truck and pick up the trash, was the way he used to say it. And I think that inspired the rest of the family. We all followed into the footsteps. I became a police officer. My two boys are police officers in the city. We have about 24 or 25 members of our family that are past or present employees of various police and fire departments. I think my family's lasting legacy could be summed up in very simple terms, and that's honor and nobility, service. They were proud to serve. I can't tell you how many times my grandfather used to always say, and then my father would say it, but I can remember my grandfather always saying, man faces no greater threat than his own ego. And I find that so true in life. We spend a lot of time, a lot of us spend our whole lives chasing the pot of gold that we've already found previously and don't realize we have it. We're always looking for more and better, whether it's wealth or power. I think the one thing I was taught was humility and honor and nobility, loyalty. And that all stems from service and the service they gave to this country and to their families.